Today on Kitchen Bandito, harvest soup and a big giant plate of I'm seriously not going to do this. Like, Kevin, can you cut the most important thing that I've never really, back to the big box. Yeah, no point. That's my point. We're gonna like.
You want a thing? You're cooking it now. Play chef with Persephone and all of her pals.
All right. Now the first thing you're gonna do is roast your roots. Nice big cubes are fine because all this is gonna get pureed later. But we're gonna roast the butternut squash with the onions. You ready to rock? Now I'm about to cut up my second gourd here. As you can see, you peel it first, but keep in mind that when you peel, you may have to do 2 or 3 passes before you get to that fleshy part there. If you've got this white or this green, you're gonna taste it and you don't want that. So, put some elbow grease into it. There you go. Get mad at it. Get mad at it. I'm making a mess. Okay. Once you get all of your green and white stuff off, cut it in half, and you're gonna scoop these little seeds out. Super simple. And I personally just like to save all this stuff to compost. Compost, compost, it's going in the ground to make things grow. I'm making a mess. Again, don't overthink the chopping. You're just gonna wanna kind of chop, don't overthink it. The whole reason that we're gonna oven roast these is because it really does change the flavor. Roasted butternut squash tastes different than butternut squash that's just been boiled. Now that you've cut up your fun little gourds, you're gonna throw your onions in with a little bit of olive oil. And again, with the onions, same kind of cut. Don't overthink it. I know what you're saying. That's too much stuff for one tray. And you're probably right. We should probably use 2 trays. As long as they're roasted, they'll be delicious. And you're just gonna throw some olive oil on there. Keep in mind, every gourd comes in a different size. What I tried to pick was a big one and a kind of small, medium-ish. And also keep in mind, it's soup. It's very hard to mess up. Just forgive yourself and enjoy it. You just want to sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on there just to grease it up a bit. And I'm also going to throw a little bit of salt and pepper on there. Not a lot, just a little. This is my favorite part. So you are gonna throw these bad boys in here for as long as it takes. I'm gonna go ahead and guess 40 minutes, but we got a lot to do in the meantime. Now, while that deliciousness is roasting in the oven, we're gonna get to this meat here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook my sausage. And what I've used is a spicy sausage because the rest of this is gonna be kind of on the sweet side. You wanna just brown it. It's common sense. This, what we've used right here, is 1 pound. One little package. And I use Jimmy Dean, but use what you like. I use the Jimmy Dean hot. Now, when it comes to rice, all of them are gonna work, but you want a kind of variation of wild rice. I love this one. It's got white, brown, and wild rice. So what I'm gonna use for this soup is a cup of this, a half a cup of wild rice, okay? Once you get your sausage brown, you're gonna throw in your other sausage. This is 1 package of kielbasa. So that is usually about 14 ounces, and this is the kind of sweet one. So now you got a little sweet and a little spicy. Oh yeah, that smells really good. So we're basically just gonna kind of let this sizzle and brown and sear it. In the meantime, I'm getting some water going. So what's gonna happen here, because this takes a while to come to boil, is we're gonna just throw a little bit of chicken stock in it. El pollo. Don't overthink it. Just sprinkle it. Here we go. And when all of those amazing little bad boys come out of the oven, We're gonna throw them in here and we're gonna boil them to smithereens, and then we're gonna, all right, so here's how you know it's done. It's been about 40 minutes, and you got those perfect little roasty tips on there. Hi, beautiful. All right. So you know what's gonna happen now? Into the pot. Now look at those chemicals in the pot. You're gonna be so delicious, yeah. We are gonna boil this butternut and this onion with just a couple cloves of garlic. Just a couple for this big pot. Hi, babies. You're coming bye-bye. If you're not sure how much water to use, start with less. You can always add more. If you're not sure how much chicken stock, little bouillon to use, start with less. You can always add more. We're gonna go all Paula Deen on this. 2 sticks of butter, baby. Woo! And just let that simmer.
Nay, no simmer. You want to boil. Boil, boil.
All right, it's time to wand. This is one of my favorite parts where you just blow this soup into a soup, right? You've got all these wonderful chunks of everything in there. I know what you're saying, ready? Persephone, what if I don't have a submersion blender? And that's easy. You'll just use a blender. If you don't have a blender, maybe a food processor, even a Ninja. It's just gonna take you longer and it's a total pain in the butt. But with one of these bad boys, you just stick it in and you go. So what we are doing right now is liquefying all that awesome butternut onion goodness with that little bit of garlic and that pollo and pollo season. I wish this were smell-o-vision so you could smell it. It smells amazing. This whole place smells so good right now. Once you're pretty sure you have this nice and liquefied, it's time to add your other ingredients, and I'll tell you what those are. If you have pureed your butternut squash and your onions and it's a little thick, you can always add more water. Ours is wonderful. I like it where it is. This right here is the rice that we talked about. I've got 1 cup of that mix and a 1/2 cup of wild rice, and I rinsed it. Now, there's a secret with rice. If you want your soup to kind of thicken up, like starchy, don't rinse it, because all that starch is gonna really make that soup kind of thick. But I like my soup a little soupier. Yeah. So you got a 1.5 cups of rice in there. This is 2 cans of whole kernel corn drained. And our amazing, wonderful sausage that I've been kind of snacking on. Sorry. And you're just gonna let that work together. Your rice is probably gonna take a good 20 to 30 minutes to cook, and just let it all get nice and happy together. So we'll see you in just a second. Hey Banditos, while this soup is cooking, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And stay tuned for the next episode for the best corn muffins that go with this soup. Secret ingredient time! It's secret ingredient time! It wasn't on the original list, but now I'm gonna tell you what it is. Brown sugar. So, I put a 1/4 cup of brown sugar in here, and what it does is it actually brings out the flavor of that butternut squash. You may want, for this big old pot, a 1/2 cup of brown sugar, but start with a 1/4 cup. Taste it! And if it needs a little more, put a little more in. So, just to have some fun with it, we're gonna put a little bit of sour cream, and honestly, it's just a garnish. Today we're using chives. If you wanted to use parsley or even a leaf of cilantro, don't ruin it for people that don't like cilantro, but it's just to make it pretty. Final touch, just a little of the final touch. Oh, and that is harvest soup. Enjoy.